Welcome back and thank you for staying with Morning Express. We just took a look at the latest that has been covered on the dailies. We want to shift focus right now and take a look at a youthful discussion. This time around, it's all centered on social media. I mean, we live with it daily, even for those of us who might be at work. I'm sure we take time off work through social media to kind of rejuvenate and all that. But one of the questions would be how exactly we can use social media in this current world of the digital world, quote unquote, to effectively brand ourselves, to position ourselves. And these are bigger questions on influencer branding, social media placement, and effective brand positioning. We'll definitely interrogate some of these things that circulate on social media branding, taking a look at influencer culture, which has its pitfalls and shortfalls in one or the other. It can create or ruin your reputation, dimming prospects of formal jobs. We'll get to interrogate the views of a HR expert on this, as well as the pressures that come with social media, the social pressure of keeping up with emerging trends, of keeping up with the online image posed by your friends on social media, which might be fake. You know, in some cases, fake it till you make it. Well, we'll try and take a look at all this, the good side and the bad side of social media branding. Just allow me to introduce my panelists, all joining us via way of Zoom, perhaps showing us the effect of media and the digital world at this time round. But be it as it may, Winnie Miseda, who's a HR advisor, is joining us from Mombasa. Many thanks for your time and good morning. We're also joined by Dr. Susan Getao, who is a counseling psychologist and a regular face in terms of her input right here on Morning Express. And from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, we're joined by Brian Mbunde, who many of you might have interacted with on social media due to his antics and followers as well. So, gentlemen and lady, many thanks for your time. I'd like to start with Brian. I hope you're doing well. Habari ya Tanzania. Perhaps as you start with that, let's talk about the influencer culture in this modern day and age. How exactly would you term an influencer, and perhaps the positives and negatives of being one?
Thank you so much. The best thing about being an influencer, especially wherever you are right now, is that the small things are literally what matter. You can be that person who's talking about a certain product in your estate and just are very high that there are so many people who are going to actually use your product. So you can be Mama Kevin, who's literally talking about a certain supermarket, and everyone is literally going to that supermarket and actually using a certain product that you're talking about, and you won't know that you're actually influencing people to go to that supermarket. So anyone in society can actually be an influencer as long as you are actually believing in a certain product and you're sharing with people. It's a very high that you're an influencer. The influencer culture right now is quite huge in Kenya because the amount of money that so many brands are actually investing so much, because you realize that without the money that I spend in a very high, people will not think about my product. So how about I pump in money and use people with the billions of followers so that they can use my product? So it's a very high that you will realize that a product that is unknown, so many people are shifting their minds to actually use the product, and it's literally because of the money that we pumped in. So right now, the influencer culture in Kenya is growing quite steadily.
Okay, that's well noted. Quick question before we cross over to other panelists. How exactly should one endeavor to build an online community? Because I think this goes hand in hand with being an influencer, and perhaps diminish the truth from the fake this time round. I mean, we well know the connotation, fake it till you make it on social media. Perhaps your thoughts on this?
To be honest, one thing I always say, content is king. Without content, you cannot be an influencer. You cannot be the influencer that you even envision in your mind, because without content, people will come to your page and they'll wonder, okay, why am I this person? So you have to make sure that the content that you're posting on social media is something that's very attractive to a point that someone will always follow you. So if you're a fashion person, make sure that each and every day you publish new fashion content. If you're a musician, if you're a graphic designer, if you love to talk about politics, make sure that you give your own 2 cents about what you believe in. So always make sure that content is king.
Okay, that's well noted. Many thanks, Brian. Let's cross over to the HR expert in the group. And I'd want your take on perhaps the disruptions caused by social media, especially to the traditional workspace. How exactly does HR relate to those who are active on social media? And perhaps do you monitor as HR experts what one person puts on social media? And does this inform whether they're fit for a job in one way or the other or not? The ethical question. Talk to us about this.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Actually, what happens is what you put in your social media is who you are. And your social life affects your career progress. The trends have changed. Employers are going down the search, the background search. We no longer rely on the referees per se. Whatever you post on the social media, 95% is believed to be who you are. And each and every organization has a policy, and there is a work culture. What kind of person do I want to employ to bring to my organization? A toxic individual? Do you want to bring up a reputable employee? Or what image am I putting outside to the world as a corporate entity? I've seen the trends, things are happening, and we witnessed this in the country last year, early this year. We've seen people fired, lose jobs, because of a small sentence that you put on the social media. It could be out of your ignorance or just you want to please your followers, but in the bigger picture, this is a formal entity. This is an enterprise, a corporate that has a name, that has a brand. What effects you as an employee, me as Winnie, I want to put my organization into? And this organization, vis-a-vis the brand, the image, and having these employees stay. My question will be today, or my answer to the youth, and those aspiring to look for jobs, the formal setup. What you write is who you are. And what you say is what makes you who you are. Be yourself, be your brand. Whatever you write today and be used against or before you in 20 years to come. Unless you don't want to be employed, or again, if you are in the other informal sector, who wants to relate with somebody who has no self-respect or does not entertain the other party? That's what I can say as it now. Again, in your career planning, I've graduated, I'm in the primary level, I'm on to the secondary level. There are things I said when I was in class 7. In Form 4, I did another tweet. Here I am transiting to the campus. I'm done. I bring an application letter to KTN. When I was in class 8, I made a negative tweet against KTN. And this is my employer. Here we are in the panel. You brought your papers. We've done our background search, and we have this information that is shared. As an employer, how can I accommodate you? Because I will just tell you, I'm sorry, our work culture cannot accommodate you. And that's how you lose your job. Yes, Jesse?
Okay, that's definitely well noted. I mean, what you write on social media is who you are. The footprints definitely might play a part in your entry to formal employment. But Dr. Susan Gitau, at times, what people write on social media does not depict their personality in one way or the other. At times, people might take the route of faking it till you make it, you know, posting pictures on your virtual lifestyle, but vitu kwa ground, quote unquote, is different, as they normally say. What say you about this, the pressures that come with, you know, keeping up with the trends on social media? Does it have an effect?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jesse, and the panelists are great. One of the things I would like to say is the truth is most people will want to post an image that will attract attention. It is human nature. You want to attract a particular maybe population, you want to please a particular audience, and especially for the artists, and especially those also who are coming up as motivational speakers and coaches and all that. I have seen that because I live with people. I'm one person who lives with people from low levels up to the highest levels. There are also people, apart from the young people, who will put an image of a character that is of integrity, a character of competence, excellence, and people will go looking for them. And I'm sure you have seen that happen, where you find professionals and people who are very competent ignored at the expense of these people who have really put an image out there. I'm not against them because they are also trying to have a life, but it causes them stress. And especially when I go post an image, you know, I can change my background here and put Paris here and all that. Or I can go to somebody's house, you know, and take pictures in there and tell people, look at how the Lord has blessed me, you know, and it's actually not my house. And at the end of the day, you can lie to the world, but you can never lie to yourself. And that is very, very important for the young people to know, even for the adults, because we are there. We want to fake a happy marriage, so I can even tune my husband so that we take a very good photo, but we are the worst of the couples. I don't know why we are so concerned about pleasing others. From a psychological point of view, we teach a unit at African Nazarene University called Personal Awareness and Development. And we do it for counselors because we do not want them to go faking. You are a diploma holder, a certificate holder, and you want to go faking how highly qualified you are. And I'm happy because we have a HR specialist here, because such people can only survive on social media. But if they go to employers, they cannot be employed because people want your papers. Yeah, we have also seen people calling themselves big titles. I am Dr. So-and-so, Professor so-and-so, but your delivery does not match. And let me tell you, like Winnie has said, Google does not forget. You can call yourself a professor, a doctor, a bishop, because we have also seen that. And then people follow up with you, you know? Or you can pose there with somebody's car, and then people are following the registration number, and they will get all this information. You only need to log in and see whose car that belongs to. My concern is especially for the young people, because the highest number belong to this group. Live your life. Do not be afraid to be yourself, because how do I expect Brian, who could be below 30 years, to be so rich? I have so high expectations over him. No one is expecting you to be there. Walk at your own pace and believe one day you'll be. I have loved what Brian has said. If I am good in music, let me elevate my music. For example, for me, I'm a mental health expert. If you go to my social media, Dr. Susan Gitau, if it's the YouTube, it's all about mental health. It's all about giving hope. right? And I shouldn't be delayed. Sometimes there are people who want you to comment on politics and all that. Sometimes even Jesse, you people, we come here and you want us to comment on political agenda. I like to tell people I'm not an expert in that.
Yeah.
Because I might say something like what Winnie has said, and somebody will carry that home. And we are going like to 2022, and you will see a lot of that. And one of the things I'm happy about is that Winnie and all HR professionals, our workplace is our second home.
Okay.
So it's important that we also educate our employees, because most of the time it's like you hide these cards under here. So we are waiting for you to post something and then we are on you. Let us do psychoeducation. For the young people, let us be ourselves. I remember when I was growing up, I was very okay living in a single room, and I was like, you guys, if you want to come to my home, I just know you sit on my bed.
Okay.
Because you don't expect me at my age, maybe at 25, that I have so much. Acceptance is the key. Because if I don't agree with me, the outside and the inside, what I get is mental torture. And that mental torture is the one that takes people very fast to depression, and then we can be talking of suicide. Because you don't want to live with this image of people, what people know about you. And the key word here, be real, be yourself.
Okay.
If you're yourself, by the way, even you can tell people afterwards, by the way, that house I posted was my auntie's, but one day I will live in such a house. That limousine,
Okay.
Just be yourself.
So being real is definitely important. Well, being real is definitely important, but at times, Brian, you mentioned content is king, and perhaps this content is usually wanting, hence the gimmicks we see on social media. But talk to us about positioning a brand on social media. Is there a need to have accounts on all the networks? Because we have a couple of them right now, and new ones are emerging by the day. And how exactly do you know which networks are used by your target audience if you're trying to be intentional with what you place on social media?
One thing I usually tell myself, and I always believe in, is that not every social media user is on every social media platform. So when I joined, which our parents are usually mainly on, just a very high that they are not on Twitter, they're not on Instagram, they're not on Snapchat or TikTok. So when I use a platform like Facebook, I'm so sure that a certain target audience is there. And in Kenya, it's very easy for you to get those stats because you literally just go to a certain platform like Statistica, which can give you information in terms of in Kenya, the number of people who, let's say, are on Facebook is this and this. So the certain age group is literally this and this. So when you're joining a platform, when I'm posting there, if I'm a brand like KTN, this and this are the people, I am very sure I can to the content that I'm going to post there. Currently, a platform let's like Twitter is actually used by people between 20 to around 27. Snapchat is used by the younger people, let's say between 18 to 25, and even a platform like 18 to 25. So when I'm bringing a brand there, let's say like KTN, for example, chances are very high that I want to go with serious topics when it comes to a platform let's say like TikTok, because I'm very sure that the youth will just look at the content and really swipe, let's say, because it's not content that's very attractive to them. But when I go to a platform like Facebook, I'm so sure that if I go there and talk about BBI, I'm sure I'm able to actually engage with these people because it's content that's literally attractive to them. Yeah.
Okay, that's well noted. But Winnie Museda, the HR advisor, mentioned a couple of mistakes can be done on social media. From a brand manager's perspective, how exactly do you deal with this and the blowback, especially if you post something that's not warranted or affects a certain group of people? How exactly should one person deal professionally with the blowback?
The first thing you should always do is definitely to apologize, because there's so many brands which usually mess up. Then the first thing is that they'll try and support the mistake that they've done, and they literally decide to die on that hill, and it's really not right. As a brand, you need to have that human side of yourself, because at the end of the day, you need to realize that customers, without the customers, the brand is non-existent. So definitely acknowledge that you messed up. Then after that, you literally try and course correct in terms of to the affected parties. This is what I'm going to do. In terms of if I've literally affected you personally, you can actually reach out to the customer and try and make sure that they're comfortable with the direction that you decide to actually go after that mistake. Because as a brand, always realize that you have that human aspect, you have that human angle, and you need to make sure that when you mess up, you literally just need to come out and just say, hey, I messed up and I'm sorry for this, versus just remaining in your stance.
Okay, that's well noted. Winnie Miseda, even as you perhaps bounce off what has been mentioned already, you talked to us about how social media presence can go as far as informing one's work culture and all that. But talk to us about establishing an official social media policy, especially within companies, and how this clearly defines acceptable behavior. How exactly can a social media policy work to the benefit of not just the employer, but the employee as well, so as to retain their employment?
The trends have changed, Justin. And what happens currently is that you as an individual, the first reflection that you need to have, identify, let me use that example. If you are a mother, right? Let me give you an example. You want the best for your kid. And you have one notorious kid whom is always beating up people, we have those kind of disparities. You cannot throw this baby away. There's a way you nurture him or her. This is what an organization also needs to do. Employees who understand the SOPs that exist for this particular organization. And what I've come to realize that people management is the most difficult thing in society. They're always against SOPs. We want to do things our own way. When you motivate your team and tell them, yes, there is the social life, the social media. These are our SOPs on social media, maybe technology. This is what you should do. This is what you should not do. The do's and the don'ts. But you will realize there's one out of the 10 will always go against it. You, as the person in charge, the supervisor or the HR, call this staff, sit down with your staff, try to understand what is happening. We have people who do not know how to express themselves. They want to do it out in the social media. They could be suffering from some issues, inner issues, as Daktari had said. When you sit down with this stuff, you'll understand there's more than what he or she wants. Maybe the staff needs attention. He or she has never been given attention by people at home or colleagues. There's something he or she is trying to express, and the only best place to do it using the keyboard. Now, you as the supervisor, when you notice such a trend, do not fire these employees. Take them and sit down with them. As per the existing policy, try to understand what is making this Brian or Dr. Susan go this way. And you will realize maybe when this employee was brought on board, he or she never used to have such a character. But it has developed maybe after 3 months or 1 year down the line. It could be the office culture is not good for her. It could be issues at home. So he or she could be suffering from deep issues. Maybe some bitterness somewhere that has not been released. Sit down and identify. Because I can give an example. I've seen guys make posts that are not are not ethical. And this is an official or a professional network. And you sit down and ask yourself, fine, we are doing this, forgetting that tomorrow I will go to Dr. Susan's office and knock for a job. And at the same time, we will Dr. Susan in this forum, and I'm giving out negative or dirty information.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's well noted. Definitely an intricate balance right there. Now, Dr. Susan, I mean, at times we see individuals go as far as commoditizing a person. It might be their child. You know, as soon as they're born, they put on social media, open an account, and in one or the other, they're trying to target brands using this kid to actually, you know, market themselves in one or the other in order to push that virtual lifestyle we were talking about. Talk to us about perhaps the negative effects of bringing a young one into the world of social media as early as that, with the aim of commoditizing this particular individual.
Wow, and that's pretty serious, because children can't speak for themselves. They cannot tell you, "Mommy, don't put me on social media." They cannot tell you, "Daddy, don't post me there." And I would appeal especially to the young mothers, because you have seen people even post when they are pregnant, and they keep telling us, "I am at this age of my pregnancy, 6 months, 7." Then later on, the baby is born. That's why I'm talking about self-awareness. When you take time to reflect, you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because there are people who also do it because they want to have baby showers, attract people and all that. And sometimes, well, we have a lot of fundraising going on for different things. It's important that people become genuine. Why am I doing what I'm doing? For example, if I post my child there, and maybe I have enemies. I'm not saying people have enemies, but sometimes it happens. Or I have somebody who is seeing me like I'm doing very well, and what they're likely to do is, if they want to put a lot of pain in me, yeah, and maybe the child is abducted, because we have posted the child there, they are seen. Sometimes we also post that our children are doing very well. Then one day our children are caught in a dark corner. What people do, they quickly take those photos, and then they bring this other one. Because the world, as it were, we have two sides of ourselves. One of it is persona, the dark side, because just like we have the evil and the good. So and the human nature is quick to post what is not good. And later on they regret and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but the damage is already done. So for children, I would be very happy if the children's department would also come up with protocols, SOPs, like it is in HR, where we need to protect children who cannot speak for themselves. If you have a child, for example, who has reached 18 years and you ask him for consent, you know, they tell you, it's okay, you can post a photo. And even today, don't go, like the celebs are I'm warning them, that everybody is taking a photo with you, and they can actually even add some more information on media. By the time you get to know it, somebody is running after your life, because maybe your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend said something, but you could be having a thing with him. And we have also very many people, Jesse, who are not mentally fit. And they live in that world of grandiosity, you know, big things, big lifestyle. And so if you encounter such people, because there are many on social media, you may never know. And it's important that we also know, why am I on social media? And which one works? Because, for example, for me, I can tell you, I would go to LinkedIn because probably I want to connect a lot with my like professionals. If I'm not looking for a job, I may not be very active on LinkedIn. If I come to YouTube, now I know I have developed enough content. Just like you called me this morning, I just woke up and you said, "Oh, Jesse was looking for you." And I said, I'll be there, especially if we are talking about social media and young people. I'll be there because my heart really goes to them, because I pray that they become themselves. They are great. They have a lot of potential, because they're the ones who are quickly taken down that road, so that you become the person you're not on social media, and then you get a very, very big conflict within yourself. I would also like to say, Jesse, that if parents who are watching me know that our children, when they grow up, they might never be happy with what you posted. And I'm saying this because my sister passed on, and we were just looking at photos, and my son was telling me, hey, this is the last picture my mama would like you to put anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And that is when we were young in Mombasa. So you can imagine how parents do stuff. Maybe you find something is funny about your child, and then you post it. The other day I saw a very touching social media video of a child who was trying to eat very hot ugali. And I believe whoever was taking that video is a parent. And then you post it. You don't know how many comments, and people even trying to say resilience and all that. For me, I see a child who is abused.
Okay.
And I really go for children, by the way. If the children's department and the parents would know there's a children's act in this nation, you would never do things that you do with children.
Okay, so we definitely have to proceed with caution, especially when we're dealing with young ones and this digital age of social media and the likes. Allow us to take a short break. When we come back, we still have Brian Bunde on the line. We'll be talking about returns on investments, because traditional advertising with this new form of social media advertising, how exactly are you assured of a return on investment? The HR expert is still with us. We'll interrogate how employers can actually monitor employees and their work output. And we still have a psychologist in terms of the effects on one's mental health. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is KTN News. Introducing Ushindi Cream Bar Soap. It foams well, is gentle on skin and hands, and cleans your clothes and dishes well too. Available in 1 kg and 800 gram bars and 175 gram tablets. Also available in all your favorite variants. Ushindi, a quality product from Pwani Oil Products Limited.
COVID ilikam na ikashut down vitu mob, lakini bado kuna patients wengi wana need blood transfusion kama wase wako na hemophilia, yani wanakunid. Bila wewe, risk ni kubwa zaidi. Cheza kama wewe, donate blood leo. Download app ya Damu sasa kwa Google Play Store upate more info place unaweza donate na other benefits. Kumbuka kuvaa mask ukidonate blood.
How exactly has the pandemic changed how we teach our children in schools?
One could reasonably argue that over the last couple of months, we've seen the development of some 21st century skills in our students. These are skills like problem-solving skills.
So are classrooms necessary for learning?
Learning can happen without a classroom. I believe that they're still very much relevant for education, and parents and students do want and prefer a classroom-based teaching.
Welcome to the FKFPL Review Show. My name is Robinson Okeny.
Mambo yaliendelea kuwa mazuri kabisa. Haikuweza kuwa rahisi.
The action allowed him not to shoot, and Chenje recovered in time.
There was not any clear chance that you could actually give them a goal.
Baraka anafunga bao.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with Morning Express. We continue with a conversation centered on the youth, and this time round we evaluate the digital footprint, what you need to do in order to brand yourself on social media in the correct way, in a way that won't affect you mentally and won't affect you in the case of formal employment. And we're just interacting with a couple of individuals, my panelists, one of them being a brand manager, Brian Bunde. I think with a question on social media branding, next would be a return on investment. How exactly can a company or a corporate be assured that they will definitely get a return on investment? Because right now we have the disruptive social media advertising breaking into the traditional form of advertising. What say you about how we can be assured of a return on investment?
A brand goes into social media, especially a platform like Facebook, which is actually the biggest platform right now in Kenya, or even in the world. You need to make sure that you have a certain goal that you've set. So when you know that, okay, the reason why we are on Facebook, let me give an example. It's like EPN, because we want, let's say, to disseminate news to more people and actually reach more people. We need to make sure, okay, our goal is to reach more people. So what angle are we going? Is it going to be us posting more video content because everyone wants to watch more video content? Is it that we'll now go into posting memes? Is it us going in depth with exclusive content that when someone who loves KTN is going to watch, let's say, on TV, but let's say they don't have time, and now they're getting exclusive content on social media. So you have to first set your goal. Then after that, definitely you have to pump in money, because you have to make sure that the content is able to reach to more people. Because right now, a platform like Facebook, right now, of course, they are minimizing organic content. Organic content is content that you just post on social media and you don't pump in money to it. So you definitely now have to pump in money so that you actually target audience able to see the content at any given time on the platform. Because you can't just, it's like right now, you can't just post about things, especially outlets like health, and you expect everyone who's been logging Facebook today to see that content. You need to make sure that you're able to optimize the content to be able to see so that your users are able to see the content at a certain given time. Then after that, you always need to realize that, of course, the customer, especially the social media user, is the person who is going to give you that return on investment. So you have to make sure that the content is enticing enough. So always remember, even now when you're going to these platforms, when it comes to now return on investment, when the consumer behavior is actually changed or even triggered, that's something, it's literally now the ROI that's coming to life. So if I talk about, let's say, COVID, and I talk about people actually wearing masks, then after posting a certain video on the social media platform and people actually now start wearing masks, that's my investment.
Okay, that's well noted, but I'm sure it's not all smiles in this brand world. Perhaps talk to us about the key challenges in influential marketing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, as influencers, to be honest, there are some people who wananyanyaswa. Because when you create a social media platform, you compare yourself with people, let's say, in different countries, people, let's say, like here in Tanzania, people in America. So you always want to go into a platform when you're sure that if you have, let's say, like 100,000, you'll be able to get a couple of social media gigs. But chances are very high that brand managers on social media will definitely pick the celebrities, people on radio, people on TV. So there's that bit of challenge to get. There's so many people also who are brand managers who right now they usually feel that, okay, why am I paying this person, let's say, 100,000 shillings? And it's because they feel that social media person is literally just going to be posting content. They don't think about the time that they're going to spend when they're actually creating the content, the equipment that they're going to actually buy when they're creating the content, and even the confidence it takes for you to go, let's say, to a supermarket and actually create the content. So these are things that influencers actually charge for, and brand managers usually feel that, okay, it makes sense where I'm paying us 100,000, so let me split the bill. Chances are very high, every time when you split the bill, chances are very high that you will get influencers who are substandard. So you need to make sure that as a brand manager, or even just someone who wants you to pay influencers their worth. And the last point that I would like to share, Jesse, is that when you go into social media, especially as an influencer, always remember that it's content that's going to build you to reach the level that you actually have to reach. Don't be that person who's in a hurry to reach 100, let's say 100,000 followers. Just use the content that you're comfortable with. Chances are very high someone is looking your content and will attract more and more and more people through retweets, through shares, through taking screenshots and WhatsApp. Chances are very high you will get the actual target audience, because the rush that you have, because right now we're at an age where people, when they're at home right now, the pressure they're having is that, okay, how am I going to get followers? So they'll start buying fake followers, and those fake followers are not going to give you the engagement that you intend to get. So just take time, grow your followers, and just always remember content is what's going to attract your followers.
Okay, that's definitely well noted. Proper advice right there. Winnie Mseda, I am seated at home. I'm trying to be intentional with my social media pages and perhaps looking for formal employment. What say you about the steps perhaps HR takes in making sure that they pick the right candidate based on their social media profile? But even as you tell us that, talk to us about how possible it is for to monitor employees' activity, especially media activity at work, because at times it might eat into productivity when it comes to formal employment.
Thank you, Jesse. First of all, what you need to do to move to the results deliverables. We have goals, and every employee has a goal. Where I work, we call it numbers. Yeah? Everybody has numbers. You must know your number. You must know your target. So I will not be monitoring you to the traditional way, the attendance, Jesse has not reported. Look at your activity output, timelines. You're supposed to give me a report by 10 a.m. and you fail to do so. Already that is a warning, that is a sign. You do not communicate the reason as to why I'm here to submit my report by 10 a.m. It goes through to 6 p.m. the next day. That already calls for maybe a meeting or something with the staff, and you tell the line managers, supervisors, yes, Brian is supposed to submit a report then, and he has not. What measures have you put in place to ensure that the company time is not messed up with? Because at the end of the day, through your performance, you get paid. Yeah? You cannot want to be paid you underperform. And during the appraisal, you have the reviews. Those are some of the matters that need to come in. And you let the employee know. As for the SOPs, they are the do's and don'ts. You can have time in your social media. Give a priority to your employer, not steal your employer's time. This is where the friction comes in between HR and employee.
All right.
When the employee wants to have his freedom, but again, the HR or the company also needs time. What you need to do, balance between the two. The do's and the don'ts. Give a priority to your work first, at all times.
All right.
Meet the deadlines. Right?
Okay, that's definitely
Then
noted.
also,
meeting deadlines is important. Perhaps your final take. Okay, let's just cross over to our other guest. Dr. Gitau, as we finalize, perhaps it would be proper to note some of the challenges that comes with the era of social media. I mean, there's that appeal of one wanting to become famous, to become a celebrity, quote unquote, and this might take you to certain lengths, even though you know yourself. Self-awareness is definitely important. Talk to us about the strain that might come with this and why it's important to actually balance between real life and your image on social media as we conclude briefly.
Thank you so much. One of the things is financial constraints because you need bundles, you know, like Brian is saying, if I go to Brian, he will ask me for a lot of money to actually put me to that brand that will give me 100K followers or even 1 million followers. So you will find people taking loans. And to tell you the truth, the young people, because they have access, so long as you are registered with a SIM card in Kenya, it's like you're an adult. They have taken loans and loans, M-Shwari, Tala. And it has also made very many young people join into betting. So there's a very high level of addiction to betting, or what we call gambling, or non-medical or non-chemical addiction. And I'm telling you, people have loans and loans. And what I have seen from where I sit, there are very many young families, the age of Akina Brian and the others, who are coming for therapy because my husband does not provide, yet he works, I don't know, I have really searched, he doesn't have a mistress anywhere, only for them to get to their phones and find that, hey, they have loans and loans and loans, because you want to keep up maybe to a certain social image. I would like to ask you, if you want to go to social media, ask yourself one question. Okay. Why do I want to be on social media? What do I want to gain from social media? Who am I? And that is what I'm saying, self-awareness and self-acceptance. If I know I am Dr. Susan Getao, I'm a counseling psychologist, I work at African Nazarene University, I don't even need the HR to tell me. And if they tell me, we don't want to see you doing ABCD, I need to respect that. And that is what I would encourage HR and employees to actually go out and don't wait. All right. Let the employees know. And the other thing I would like to say, Jesse, is that accept everything that comes to you. You may make a mistake, post an image that is not about you, a brand of something you're providing and you don't have it. Kindly, just like we see media doing, if they do a wrong advertisement or give wrong information, apologize